Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Bean. I'm President and CEO of Darden Executive Education, and my colleague and partner in crime and sometimes roommate on African safaris, Kathy Shea. As we get started here today and go through the webinar with you, you will see on the GoToWebinar platform that towards the bottom of the kind of box that's shown up as a chat bar. And so if there's anything you want to ask, Kathy or myself, our colleague Dan Collins is monitoring all of the questions, so feel free to chime in with that, and we'll pause for questions as we kind of go as we go through. But Kathy, I think that's the really only housekeeping issue, but I know we have one big housekeeping issue, and that's the UNICON antitrust competition statement. And so I'm going to let you do that because this all occurred under your tenure as board chair. So
yes, I worked with the folks on the board to bring this to bear. But anyway, all of you that join for UNICON meetings, whether they're face-to-face or virtual, we want you to know that we adhere to the antitrust competition laws of the U.S. and therefore we prohibit agreements between competitors to fix all prices and to limit monopolies. UNICON believes that vigorous competition is essential for driving innovation, improvements, and efficiencies, including the executive education industry, and believes that the services it provides to the members foster that competition. So anyway, you can read this briefly, and then we shall move on. I think we're in good shape.
Yeah. So you know, this statement is something that governs a lot of what we do at UNICON and how we will engage with each other as well. And at the same time, it really does, it still allows us to just be really great colleagues with each other. So with that, we're going to, and it looks like we've got a bunch of attendees. I'm so excited. So for those of you that are joining us and it's like time for bed, thank you. We appreciate it. And if any of you are joining us and you're just waking up in the morning, thank you for that as well. So Kathy, we've got 18 people in this year's cohort, and we are ready to develop, inspire, and transform each of you, or at least be part of the team that is going to help facilitate that development for all of you. So this program is designed for university-based leaders seeking to transition into roles that advance your leadership positions within our member school. We're going to give you webinars, virtual job shadowing, mentoring, individual development planning, peer coaching, and of course our in-person sessions as well. So today is really designed to just kind of give you a lay of the land and get you started, even getting to know each other just a little bit. The program benefits are immense. Many of you joined us for some of the webinars that Kathy and I did as well. And Kathy, I'm just going to pick one or two of these benefits that really kind of resonate with me, and I'd encourage for you for you to do the same. One of the things that I love about this program is that it's really the first ever program that's focused on the development of university-based exec ed professionals. And so this is something that both Kathy and I have shared with each other, throughout our 20+ year careers in executive education in universities, is there's just something really special about what it is that we do, and that we needed to create a forum to continue to grow people for that industry. And whether people stay in the industry or they move on, we want that importance of of the work that we do. And then the other thing that I really love, the other two things that I really love about this conference as well, is that it builds on this idea of having flexible. It's flexible for you, right? We all know that you guys have great big jobs that you're having to do, and so it blends a lot of the online and the virtual content with our face-to-face immersions and the whole team development conference experience. And so what you'll find is that what we'll talk about is that the conference, the team development conference, is a vital part of this entire experience. So Kathy, what are some of the benefits that get you up every morning?
Sure, and then what I will pick up on what Kelly said is that, so the week that we're here together, we've got content that's specific for the Leadership Academy, but we do bring in the learnings from the Team Development Conference and pull it all together. So what have you learned that entire week that ties to the Development Conference as well as the Academy? And I would say, you know, the peer-to-peer networking. I think when we talked during the sort of information sessions we had over the fall, this is a great opportunity for you to sort of develop a network of people much more quickly than most of us have been able to do. So you'll have these, not fast friends, but just great colleagues that you'll be able to connect with and carry on, hopefully, for the next 20 years as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that really hits for all of us, too, is this idea of this great network of colleagues that we're able to pull on. So now is the really exciting part. We want to find out who you are. And so what we'd love to do is, because there's quite a few of you, is if you have an opportunity to share to show us your picture and to share your screen, or not share your screen, but share your video, that'd be great, but don't feel like you need to do that. But we'd love just for you to say kind of who you are, what school you're from, how long you've been in Exec Ed. So who are we? How long have you been in Exec Ed, and what's the most inspiring part of your job? And I think, Kathy, the best thing to do is just kind of don't go down the list. All right, so is Ahart Cherie with us from Rice? Oh, hi, Cherie.
Hi.
We're so glad to have you. I hope my friend Michael
Koenig.
I hope my friend Michael Koenig is treating you well.
Yeah, he's actually in Nepal this week with one of our custom programs.
Awesome.
Yeah, so excited to be a part of this. And yeah, I'm at the Jones Grad School of Business at Rice University as the Director of Executive Education, and I have full responsibility for business development and Marcom. So my plate is full. I'm fighting a cold, but I'm going to Antigua on Sunday.
So what's the most inspiring part of your job? Why do you love a university-based exec ed?
So the most inspiring part of my job is, well, and I put this, I think, in my essay, is I have a history, my work experience is talent development and talent management, leadership development. And so I've worked in a lot of corporations and with a lot of corporations that use pop trends instead of science. And so the best part of my job is being able to, A, not be bored, so I get to work with a lot of industries, and B, actually bring them, you know, a robust return on their investment by leveraging science.
All right. I love that. I love it. All right. Thank you. Monica Duff from UCD. We just had some of your colleagues over here at Darden in DC last week.
Good evening, everybody. Monica Duff here. I work with Smurfit Executive Development in University College Dublin, and great feedback, Kelly, from the Senior Leadership Programme, and a number of the participants found it just transformational, the whole experience on both sides. I've been 4 years, I suppose, directly involved in executive education, and then previous years maybe in undergrad education and involved in the MBA program. So really excited about being part of this year's UNICON Leadership Academy and the experiences and opportunities it'll bring. I suppose my role, I'm information manager, and I'm very much an individual contributor where I work across our teams, our business development team, our program management team, our heads of open enrollment and customized, and then our directors. So I suppose I deal with all information requests. Some of the inspiring parts of my role, I love the FT ranking process. We are 3 years in it, and I think
you're going to have to figure out a way to bottle up the loving of that and sell it to the community. So way to go.
Can I hire you?
I guess it just, in terms of all the metrics and the benchmarking, and now even the opportunities of being members of UNICON, it's put us much more on, it's opened my eyes, you know, well beyond Europe and a much more global perspective, and that's exciting. I see our programs growing and the opportunities are joint programs, and I see from our participant side just how transformational it is, and that's really exciting and inspiring, and really looking forward to being part of this year's academy and meeting everybody and learning.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Monica. And that's a great example, Kathy, of you know, UCD came in, Smurfit came in as an associate member, became a full member. Darden started doing some work with, or having conversations with UCD. And while we were having those conversations, Helen Brophy, the head of the unit, I said, you know, you really should send someone to the UNICON Leadership Academy. So this is the second year that Smurfit has participated. So we love it. We're glad you're here. All right. What about our friend Robin Kistler?
Second. Hi, everybody. My name is Robin Kistler. I am the Director of Non-Degree Programs within the Steyer Center for Executive Education. I have been in my role for about 2.5 years. Before that, I did a similar role with Louisiana State University. And so I actually moved from the South to the cold and wintry Midwest. But I'm doing all right with the weather. I'm doing okay. I think one of the things that I love about what I do, because I'm completely involved in all of our non-degree programs, custom, open enrollment, and any online learning that we provide. I think one of the things that I love the most about my job and what gets me up in the morning every day is to see the actual development and transformation that people experience when they are with us. It's sometimes we feel like, you know, we're in execution mode, planning and execution mode most of the time, and it's just really good when you see one of your participants talk to you about what they're going to do different when they go back. So that's what really gets me up and gets me going.
I love that. Is Paul treating you well?
Paul is treating me great.
See, so the sidebar on this is Kathy and I probably know most of your bosses, so we're always tapping them on the shoulder saying, hey, so now, Robin, the next time I run into Paul accidentally at the Publix grocery store in Hilton Head, which is what we did this summer,
okay, all right.
shopping for bagels, you know, so UNICON shows up everywhere, even when you're on vacation. Well, that's great, Robin. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Blake Renfro, University of Tennessee. I'm loving this. Although I really did love how my Gamecocks did get a win over you last weekend. So
yes, they did. Good morning, good evening. It might be the middle of the night for some of you. Hello from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm Blake Renfro. I am recently arrived here from Chapel Hill, where I was at UNC Executive Development for the past 3 years. I am currently the Director of Corporate Engagement here at the Haslam College of Business, where I actually began my career in exec ed as an undergraduate at the age of 18 years ago. That's right. I was a freshman, got my first job on campus working in exec ed. I had no clue what it was. I had to ask the first day, what is this? I was laser focused on becoming a history professor. Went to graduate school actually at LSU in Baton Rouge, and then realized I really didn't want to necessarily teach 18-year-olds the rest of my life. But one thing that I kind of honed in on was this concept of leadership. And you know, when you study history and you learn about people, you learn that even some of the greatest leaders have failed, but they learn from their failures, and they were always learning. They were always able to pivot and get back in the game. And I find that absolutely fascinating. And I see it every day in my work, and I see it with all sorts of people and industries, and that inspires me. I was working with a guy in a company about 2 years ago who's now in the C-suite, but who was at a program at UNC and said to me, this has changed everything. This has changed how I parent. This has changed how I work with my teams. This has changed how I think about what I prioritize during my day. And I thought, wow, that speaks volumes of what you know, a 2-week leadership development program can actually do. And he was in tears by the end. And I've actually teared up telling that story. So I think it has a tremendous amount of value for the clients that we touch. Really pleased to be here, and obviously I'm brand new in my role here. I'll be driving all of our business development for our custom programs here. I've been given a huge clean slate and a foundation to kind of do what I want to do. So that's really exciting, and really looking forward to learning from everyone.
Well, that's great. Well, you definitely, Tina Narin, of course, she probably only let you leave because you went back to Tennessee.
So that's the only reason.
And Tina's a part of the program as well. She'll do one of the virtual job shadows for us in the spring. And, you know, Blake, you've got a great foundation. And I'm assuming my good old friend Brick Wheeler is still at Tennessee?
Brick is retired, but he is here. And it's funny, this is a small world. So my boss, Jonathan Harvey, was at Rice. He was an executive director there. So, yeah, there you go. We all know everybody.
Well, tell Brick I said hi, please. He's been
I will.
He's an early mentor of mine back from my University of South Carolina days. So great. All right, well, welcome, Blake. But Anna Morris from Ohio State.
This is Anna. Sorry.
Okay, Anna.
I'm Anna Morris, and I'm from the Ohio State University. I am currently Associate Director of Engagement, which is our term for marketing. So I've been with the university for 6 years now, but with Exec Ed for the past 3, and I've been recently promoted into this position. So I'm responsible for all of the marketing and communications efforts for our executive degree programs, as well as our non-degree programs. So something that really inspired me to join the executive education department was the fact that when I spoke with Marty Schwalbe, who's my mentor and colleague, he told me that the goal is to help companies grow by helping to grow their people. So that really inspired me, because I am a true believer that you can never stop learning and that you should never peak. I've been told that since I was little. So I'm really excited to be here and continue my learning as well through this academy.
That's great. I love it. Thank you so much. And we actually heard from Anya in the chat bar. And so she is having, she's on holiday actually in Spain. So thank you for joining us. It's 8 p.m. and I would assume you're probably on your way out to dinner. She said she's been in Exec Ed for 8 years, and the inspiring part of her job is to be a part of the innovation processes, the new methodologies, continuous learning, and the great people that she's surrounded by, her team, faculty members, and of course the participants. So we're excited to have you in the program. And I mean, really, Anya, we're gonna pick your brain because ESA and Pepe, you guys are doing some really, really, really cool things. So we're excited to have you in. Alyssa from Wharton.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, we can.
Hi, everyone. It's Alyssa from the Wharton School at University of Pennsylvania. Very excited to be on the call and also part of this community and part of this cohort. I've been at the Wharton School in Executive Education for almost 7 years now. I started on the delivery team, and I've been fortunate to wear a few different hats and play a few different roles here. And I know quite a bit about Wharton, but I really don't know much about Exec Ed at other schools. So that's one of the things I'm excited to learn most about you and share, some of the things we're doing and really work together for the whole of the industry. So thanks in advance for your collegiality, I suppose.
Well, great.
I would say the most inspiring part of my role here, I'm in business development, so I don't really have the opportunity to work directly with clients at the delivery stage. So I've lost a little bit of that opportunity to see the impact firsthand that we're having. But there's other things that inspire me, like having the opportunity to work with many different parts of our business. We work with quite a few different clients, and our business can feel quite large at times. But fortunately, in my role, I have the opportunity to work with our program design and management team, also with the business development team, and with our online and blended programs, as well as our custom. I focus mostly on custom programs, but also some of our senior management programs as well.
That's great. Well, Alyssa, we are excited to have you, and you will have the great honor of being a participant whose boss will also be a part of the academy participating. So that's always a fun thing. So we're excited about that. And you have to be the one that gives Mike the hardest time.
My pleasure.
Okay. All right. David Goodrich from Vanderbilt with our own Skip, who used to be here at Darden. So David, welcome.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Can.
I just noticed I'm the first person with everyone. Dan put a note that everyone wants to be unmuted, so hopefully it goes well.
Okay.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here. I've been here 3 years. I joined in 2015 as director, and I was soon promoted to director of custom programs. So my responsibility is the custom program side of the business. I did have some responsibility for short or open enrollment programs when I started, but primary responsibility right now is business development and delivery for custom clients. I'm actually a graduate of the business school here. I focused in human and organizational performance, so I know the faculty extremely well. Graduated here in 2002, spent some time in sales before returning here in 2015. I'm happy to see some Cornellians there. I did my undergraduate work at Cornell, high above Cayuga's waters, from the hotel school. So looking forward to catching up with Gwyneth and I think it's Eric from Cornell. What excites me about this group, Alyssa touched on it, so I'm going to agree with her and then add on. I think probably the most valuable thing for me is to find best practices from my peers. So from Wharton to Notre Dame to Stanford. And tongue in cheek, I want to say like what works well and what doesn't work when you're working with faculty. I saw that somewhere along the line of, you can share what it's like but we all can smile now and say what it's like to work with faculty. But spinning that sort of in a positive way, I'm interested in risk. When I say risk, trying new programs, making them shorter, making them longer, trying non-tenured faculty to teach, trying new content. How quickly can you get it up and running? How do you price it? So we're on the smaller size when compared to some of the other schools here, and I think speed to market is going to be most effective for Vanderbilt. So I just want to sort of be a sponge when it comes to learning how to come quickly to market with new products and services.
Yeah, and it's hard in every situation. So on the board behind me is something I've been trying to do for 1.5 years during my time here at Darden. And if you talk to Skip about it, they probably had the same idea when he was here, which is taking, kind of a general management 2-week program that's been around forever and make it a more modular type of program. So, after 19 or 20 months of kind of consistently talking about it, we got the faculty to directors to say, okay, let's try it. So then you got to kind of race, right, to be able to get it to market. So good points, David. We're looking forward to having you. Cindy from MIT.
Hi, this is Cindy from MIT. I'm the Director of Finance, Administration, and Strategic Initiatives. It's a bit of a mouthful, but basically I've had the opportunity to be at Exec Ed for the last 10 years, moving through several of the teams, starting in program delivery. And now my job is really focused more on the back end of keeping Exec Ed kind of, forefront and with relevant to the mission and the values of Sloan and MIT, and working very closely with our associate dean. So a lot of reporting and a lot of kind of just keeping our office afloat. And I think for me, what inspires me about Exec Ed is just, I love our people. I love higher ed. I love the community and, supporting the directors and our office and just helping, I know, so that they can kind of be successful in what they do, which is impact, all sorts of participants from around the world. That means a lot to me. So I'm really excited for this opportunity. So thank you.
Absolutely. And Cindy, I think it'll be great. Kathy, I think the first participant Babson sent was in a similar type of role to the very first Leadership Academy. And so, Cindy, you know, a big part of being able to run a successful shop is being able to look at the finance and the administrative and, you know, the links to strategy, not only within exec ed, but within the school and university. So I think you're going to be able to add a really nice perspective, there. All right, Christina Murphy.
Hello, everyone. This is Christina Murphy. I am a program manager with Rutgers Business School Executive Education. I've worked in exec ed for 4 years. Before I joined the Rutgers team, I actually worked in B2B marketing for 8 years. And so transitioning into exec ed was very refreshing for me. And this sort of piggybacks on what's the most inspiring part of my job. And that is when I worked in the corporate marketing, it was not always easy to feel the impact of what I was doing day in and day out. And when it comes to executive education, I feel like I can really see and feel the work that we're doing every day and how that translates to our participants. You can't see it, but I have a bulletin board next to my desk where I keep all thank you notes that I receive from program participants. And it really just sort of keeps me motivated and inspired. And it's also just been wonderful to meet all of the amazing people who come through our programs. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of this cohort and this academy. And thank you all so much. I look forward to meeting everyone in a few weeks.
Great. Wonderful. How about Susan from Simmons?
Hi, this is Susan Halter from Simmons. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you virtually. I have been in exec ed just 2 years, and before that, I was in community arts for 12 years. So this is a big change for me on many levels. I was drawn to Simmons and excited about Simmons because our focus is really exclusively women's leadership, and that's a topic very near and dear to my heart, and one that's certainly in the news a lot these days. I am really excited by the program. I'm looking at everybody, what they do, and I feel like I have a ton to learn, and we're very excited to look at ways that we can expand our program. We're experiencing, and maybe some other people are, something that people are calling the Trump bump, where suddenly our programs are filling really quickly, and we'd love to know how we can grow in a really effective and meaningful way and incorporate new technologies and incorporate best practices as we do that growth. So I'm excited to meet everybody and hear about your experiences and learn a ton.
That's great. If you run into Stacy Blake Beard, please tell her I said hello.
I will. I run into her almost every minute, so that'll be easy to do.
She's one of my favorites. All right, great. And Kristin West.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I am Kristin West, and I am the Assistant Director of Marketing at Yale School of Management Executive Education. I have been in this role for about 1.5 years. I am new to executive education. Prior to this role, I was working at Starbucks Corporate, and prior to that, software startup, and prior to that, I was in the arts. So I've brought a lot of experience into this role, and this role certainly in the 1.5 years I've been here has given me a great deal of experience on its own. I am constantly inspired by our participants. I love their hunger for more information, more knowledge, and for change. And I love hearing their feedback, specifically that learning high. I think we've all can kind of relate, and we can all recall participants and just you can just see them walking around with the light bulb still lit above their heads, and it's something that I love hearing from them firsthand and then reading about in their surveys. So that's what keeps me going. And I also love our team here. I'm so impressed by the work that they do and how collaborative they are and how willing to experiment and try out something new they are on a day in, day out basis. So that they keep me going.
And I believe, Kristin, that your colleague Jason Pileggi, so he was in the first UNICON Leadership Academy when he was at ESA. So he's one of our success stories of staying within the industry when he moved on. So please tell him we said hi.
Will do.
All right. And NCAI Business School is this also sending their second participant. So Diego, are you with us today?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yes, my name is Diego. I'm from NCAI Business School in Costa Rica. I have been in executive education for almost 4 years. I am really new for my role right now as Open Programs Manager. I was a business operations manager, so I was had more focus on the systems and reporting and all that. So right now I'm doing this transition to managing pipelines and sales and having to coach salespeople. So that is something really new for me. What really inspires me about working in executive education and especially in NCAI is how we are doing helping the growth of the future leaders of Latin America. So that is something that keeps me going every day. The really high impact we're doing, and that we are a small school and we're getting up in the rankings. So that is something really nice for me.
That's great, Diego. And Camelia is also one of our speakers from the virtual job shadow last year, and she's a great. Kathy, Camelia is from NCAI, who runs NCAI, is a great example of that network that we build within, as we're kind of growing throughout the industry as well. I know you and I both have worked closely with her in lots of different situations. What about John Thompson from Sanford?
Hi, everybody. My name's John. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Alrighty. So I'm very new to executive education. I've only been in my role a little over 2 months, but I've been here at the GSB for over 4 years in academic technology. And that's really my background is working in academic technology. So very familiar with working with both technology and faculty. But what really attracted me to executive education was I feel like it's really uniquely positioned to help the entire university innovate. Like we're sort of have some of the resources and things like that where we can try things out and then hopefully spread those learnings. And the thought of, being able to do that on a bigger scale with this group here just is really exciting. So in my role, currently everything's new, so that's exciting. But what I like about it is when you're in sort of a support role or operations, you really get to touch a little bit of everything. And I always find that stimulating. And that just means that there's a whole lot that I have to learn. And as I look at everybody's roles down the list, I feel like I'm going to really get that experience with this group. So at least up to this point in my career, I feel like really through collaboration and when people, take that perspective of you can lead from wherever you are in the organization, it just leads to better outcomes. So like I say, I'm excited for this.
We're excited to have you as well, John. And we have 2 UNICON Leadership Academy graduates from that are currently at Stanford. Angela Thomas, who worked for me at UCLA, went through the first class. And
I didn't know that.
and Shalini has just finished up herself.
You got it.
Yeah, and so tell Angela I said hi.
I will, for sure.
I miss her. All right, Brendan Wu. And Brendan, you might be self-muted.
I think I'm on now. Can you hear me?
You're on now. Fantastic. We can absolutely hear you.
All right, great. Hi, everyone. I'm Brendan. I'm the Associate Director for Business and Asia Operations at the Yale School of Management Executive Education. That title has kind of morphed from how I've been with Yale for 3 years in exec ed. And I started actually as a program manager assigned specifically to our Chinese participants, our Chinese client programs. And from there, as our business has grown, my role has too. So now I'm also responsible for some of the back end. I manage our contracting and some of our risk management, interfacing with the General Counsel's office at Yale. But I also have had a chance to build a team of Asia program operations team. And before I was at Yale, I worked at a small nonprofit that did exchange programs between China and the U.S. So different in many ways, but I think what's been consistent is working on these opportunities that give people a chance for personal development, personal growth, and even just within my own team, the fact that I joined Yale Exec Ed just as it was growing, and have had a chance to see this mini unit within Yale Exec Ed grow and become more and more effective. I think that's what keeps me going each day. I'm excited to see how all these other schools from around the world approach some of the same challenges, maybe some different challenges from what we're working on at Yale.
Well, we're excited to see too that Molly is going to be presenting at the Team Development Conference. You guys are going to be in for a real treat. Molly's got a really great story of success at Yale and kind of building her career through Exec Ed while she was at Berkeley. So thrilled to have you, Brendan, and can't wait to meet you.
Thanks.
And so I'm really excited about the next participant, Alice Peoples, because Alice, you were actually selected to attend last year and weren't able to do it. So we're really excited that you're able to join this year. So welcome.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. I'm very excited as well. I experienced one of those life events that hit us all, but my daughter delivered a baby 8 weeks early. And I just was not able to leave her or him, but I'm happy to say he's doing very well and thriving. So I'm dressed up as Super Baby yesterday for Halloween. So,
awesome.
Very grateful for that, but very grateful that you all were gracious enough and flexible enough to accept me to come this time. And I'm really excited and looking forward to it. I've been with Ross for 12 years. And had an interesting career journey here. I worked in software development companies before coming to Exec Ed and doing a lot of other different things as well. I am now the program management team lead. I have 11 program managers and 4 program assistants, and we work collectively to deliver both open and custom programs here, and then also all in different places around the world as well. That's one of the challenges we're facing staffing-wise, trying to figure out how to effectively replicate our experience in different places around the world where we don't have the comforts of home. And we're also struggling, I think, like with other people are, with this whole issue of blended learning and what does that mean, and how do we continue to have the impact when the experiences evolve. So I'm really looking forward to meeting other people and being involved in interacting with people with different perspectives. I think that's very good to be able to have people who are in different aspects of Exec Ed organizations, because that's where the best learning outcomes come from. So I'm looking forward to it, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, Alice. Thank you. And Kathy, really cool that Devin Biganis, also someone who's had multiple positions, who's now on the board of UNICON, is supporting this program as well. Super thrilled about that. So, Kathy, what do you think here? What do you think about our group?
Group.
Oops. Group, isn't it?
Yeah,
really
perfect.
Good. All right. So, Kathy, do you mind going over some of the learning objectives, and maybe we can talk a little. We'll move through a little bit on the program and what to expect, and then we'll kind of come back and talk about some pre-work.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that in an earlier slide. Really, it's the leveraging the network, learning from each other. We'll spend some time looking at innovation and frameworks and best practices through the projects that you might take on yourself, through our speakers at the end of November, and following in our virtual job shadows. We'll really look at from a strategic perspective, the stakeholder piece, the strategy piece, and that, as well as looking at problem solving, decision making, and critical thinking skills for your personal and your professional development. So that's all sort of wrapped in at the end of November through your reflections as we move forward virtually, and again, what we found with previous groups is that, there's what goes on within the context of the program, which is face-to-face and virtual, but really the networks and what you all do offline really helps with the learning and sort of moves your personal sort of agenda and the outcomes forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it when Kathy and I get to hear about other things that you guys have done. And I know there have been a few where I've been like, well, wait, hold on. Can you talk to some people in my shop about that? So we're excited about giving you that opportunity to connect on those things. So program structure, so we're starting in the November webinar. We're going to have some reflection pre-work for you all to do. We think your time commitment will be 3 to 4 hours, maybe 5-ish on the top end. In December, well, really end of November, I think it's end of November the way it falls this year, is we'll be in person at the team conference, and we'll go through that schedule with you in just a minute. And then in January, we will have a virtual, launch our virtual networking or mentoring, and then we'll do a peer check-in, and Kathy and I will lead that with you. It's really kind of a touch base. Pretty early after the first of the year, we'll set a date together when we're together. And it's really just, when we come back from the team conference, and the next thing you know, holidays are everywhere, and the new year starts. And for some of you in Europe, the new year continues with holidays. So it's a great place to kind of pause and do some reflection and kick off the virtual mentoring. And then in February and then March through May, we'll continue with some additional webinars on a monthly basis, which are virtual job shadows. We'll do some more peer check-ins and continue to do some of the virtual mentor meetings. And then we'll finish the program up right around June time. So we'll set all of the dates once we kind of come together. The goal is by the time you leave on Friday, November 30th, is that we'll have those first 2 or 3 virtual job shadows and webinars all set up on everyone's calendar. Kathy, could you want to go ahead and start to walk through the schedule for the week? We did some of this in the kickoff or on the marketing webinar, but maybe we can just do a high level.
Yeah, we won't continue. I think we talked a little bit. We'll do a welcome, sort of reintroductions. Sort of Kelly opens up with, we're looking at your personal growth and your growth within sort of exec ed. And then we've got a great day with Monica Sacristan, who really looks at leading change within your organization and looking at sort of creating a strategic plan and business model canvas. So really sort of a top view of the organization and how you play and what that looks like. And then we will have a brief reception with the board and some of the folks who are past board members. In that group, many of those, if not most of them, will be tapped as future mentors. So in those chats, we'll think about a mentor match for you and what that might look like. The following morning on Wednesday, before we start the team development conference, Mike, who is terrific, we'll talk about digital. He's led that effort at Columbia and then to some degree at the Wharton School. And then we'll do a little bit on exec ed industry trends. There'll be some homework and pre-work on that. And that really is a nice sort of jumping off point to go into the team development conference. You'll attend all of that together and with the other 180 folks that will be at the conference. And then what we will do, we'll come back on Friday afternoon, and that's really important because we really take all the learnings from the week and sort of apply them. What did we learn, lessons, and how do we apply it? And then set up what we'll do. Actually, I'll let Kelly talk a little bit about the competency modeling, but we'll really look at you setting a personal agenda and in the months to come in terms of your learnings and such. Kelly, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, what we will do is really throughout the week, you'll get from us a learning journal that will be some questions for us to pause, reflect on what we're learning. And then a big part of what we're going to do as well is use the Korn Ferry Voices competency sort cards, which just arrived. They're in a big box somewhere behind here. And have each of you really take a look at, okay, well, how do I need to grow, right? As I'm looking to develop in the industry, where do I think I want to be in the next couple of years? What are the competencies that I have today that I need to keep, keep with me? What might I need to change and develop in? And so it gives you a nice framing and opportunity to begin to have some of these conversations, and like Kathy said, particularly with your mentoring. And one of the things that we're trying to do is just have you step back and really look at this industry from a variety of perspectives, including what's the perspective of my head of exec ed? What's the perspective of the dean? What's perspectives of the faculty? What are all the different stakeholders that that we need to manage? And then how do you manage yourself within that, right? We're excited about all of the different opportunities that you all are going to have, and we're going to experiment with some of these learning journals and tools to help us move that growth along. Absolutely. And so on my first session on November 27th around managing my growth is also going to be an opportunity to share some of the pre-work that we're going to have you do. And on probably Monday at the latest Tuesday, we're still gathering a little bit of pre-work, pre-assignments from some of the folks that are going to be sharing time with you. But we will ask you to do a couple of things. So one is we're going to ask you to view a few webinars, and I'm going to take you to the UNICON website here in just a second. There's one coming up on November 13th. It's called the Top Management Agenda for Executive Development, and it's being hosted by St. Gallen University. And they actually do a really interesting and unique survey that we've included as a pre-read every year. And I haven't seen the survey for 2018, but this webinar is about looking at those trends. So what we'd encourage each of you to do is to actually register for the webinar and attend it live. If you can't attend it live, it will be recorded, and we'll show you kind of where that is. But that, I think, is a really great opportunity to kind of step back and look at the industry from this more strategic lens. There's another one that is that has come out on perspectives on how university-based exec ed is viewed by faculty and clients. And this has been written by a long-term partner with UNICON, Michael Devlin, who's part of an organization called ATHRU. And he hosted this webinar. And each of these webinars, by the way, also usually have accompanying papers that go with them. And Michael did a lot of interviews with faculty and deans and clients. And this webinar is kind of a combination of the output that he received. So that's, we think, another really great one to listen to. And the great thing about these webinars is that, you know, you can watch them with your team, whether you lead another group of people or whether you want to pull some of your peers together. That's what's great about UNICON, is that we have all of these resources available to you. There's another one which makes my heart beat really much quicker, that was about a year ago in September, and this one is around the changing organizational models of executive education. And this was done by a group of 3 or 4 folks that have done research. One of them was Marie Eider, who was a mentor of mine early in the industry, and Kathy, probably safe to say, a mentor of all of us. Marie ran exec ed at the Tuck School and at MIT, and she passed away this past spring. But right before that tragic event, she did this webinar where a lot of deans and heads of exec ed were talking about the different changes in the models in executive education, looking at university-wide versus business school-wide. So that's another one that we'd like for you to take a look at. And then there was a webinar and also a really great paper that UNICON's been partnering with the AACSB, which is the accrediting body for business schools, on digital generation implications. And so what's great about this this webinar and this paper is that it looks at what's happening with the generations as they're coming up and what do we need to be thinking about. And I love that AACSB, the EMBA Council, and UNICON went into this one together. And so those are 4 webinars that we'd like for you to watch before you come. And once again, if you can do the November 13th, that is great. And before I take you to the website to kind of show you where to get some of these things, let me just go through this next bullet. There's also going to be a strategy assignment and a business reflection that'll be due the week prior to the conference. So once again, on Monday or Tuesday, we'll send you kind of a list of pre-work that'll have all of the links and everything in it. But we want you to do a couple of things. One is we want you to actually go interview a couple of people within your school and really reflect on your business, right? And what do you think is happening? And those papers will be kind of really how we spend a big portion of our first kind of hour and a half together. And then some of the faculty may have some pre-readings and things that'll be assigned also. So Kathy, as I'm transitioning over to the UNICON website, anything you want to say about the pre-work and those types of things?
I mean, it does sound like a lot. It's really not, and I promise you, I will be going through those webinars as well as refresher and such, because it's really good just to step back and look at what we as colleagues are learning about our industry. So I'll do the homework as well. Don't you worry.
We all will. And so on the UNICON website, there's just really great resources. If you go up here to the content hub, you can see conference archives, research archives that go back forever. I mean, Kathy, there's some research here that I actually still refer to on ROI from almost a decade ago, some really good research reports. And then there's this new tab called From Our Members. And what's interesting about this is that what you'll see is that there's some small little, videos, webinars, those types of things relating to Exec Ed put in here, right? So there's the Hacking Exec Ed conference that we had. Our colleagues from, I think, Singapore Management University have done some things as well. Key Skills for Leadership in a Digital World from Marco Serrato. And you'll see, and we'd really encourage you all to also make comments, to do shares, maybe even add your own story to this as well. And if you go to the very bottom of the UNICON page, I think, Dan, I got to do this on the home page, yes. You will see quite a few different things, which include, any new webinars and things that are coming up and that you can sign up for. And then at the very bottom, where we go, you will see, where to go? Here it is. At the very bottom, as I scroll, you'll see a YouTube channel link. And if you click on that link, that's going to take you to all of the webinars that have been archived and recorded. And what's great about this is, you don't have to just stop. So we've got our UNICON Leadership Academy ones here. And what you'll also find is that we started not so long ago, or a couple of years ago, filming like little clips, we call them nuggets, of other people in the industry saying, hey, what about this? What do you think about such and such? Like, here's the webinar for the changing models of executive education. And here's a couple of Alan Chen was in our first UNICON Leadership Academy, and he's commenting on a couple of things that they've done as well. So we'd really encourage you to kind of go back and take a look at everything that is there on the website. Okay, who's excited?
I am. I'll say something.
Right.
I'm very excited. Thank you.
I think we all.
All right. Is anyone scared? I hope not. Okay, good. So you're not allowed to be scared. It's going to really, you know, it's the kind of experience that the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And, you know, this is all run by volunteers as well, but Kathy and I are here for you. And it's something we really look forward to every year, and just really excited that you guys made your choice to help develop each other. I think it's great. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great day. Feel free to reach out to us. You'll be hearing from Taryn early in the week. She's the program manager that's helping us out, and she'll be sending out the pre-work. And if any of you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll see you in the end of the month. Have good holidays.